Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7 and today we are looking at the Wii-XL, and that's with the ultimate goal of seeing what's worth adding to your collection or your daily carry rotation. Now, I bought this with my own money. This was designed by Gavco, and the OEM is Wii Knives. So jumping right into it, we've got this beautiful blurple over some wonderfully milled diamond textured scales. Overall, attention to detail and execution on this is fantastic. We have T8 hardware all around. We have blue anodization for the hardware and for the thumb studs. And something I've noticed is that there is what I can only guess to be like a light bronzing over the edges, and also on the pocket clip we've got like that bronzing with a little bit of blurple, kind of like cascaded in. But what it made me think of was kind of like the beach, right? Where like you've got, maybe like your sun, you got the water, and then these borders here are like the shore. And I thought that was really, really cool. Now, I don't know that for sure. I don't know if that's exactly what they were going for, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. So I'd like to think that, yeah, they were going for that. But overall, aesthetically, really, really awesome design. No backspacer. We just have a single standoff and no spot for lanyards. Now let's talk about the handle a little bit. Upon first inspection, I didn't think the handle was going to be the most comfortable thing ever. Anytime you have like little divots and stuff like this, you know, you back here even, you get into some tricky territory where it's like any one of those could be a hot spot depending on your hand. But I wear large size gloves, and I find this knife to be incredibly comfortable. Like, I can choke up, I can choke all the way up. I've got the harpoon here that I can kind of nestle in to give myself more control. I can choke back, but all these positions are really, really comfortable. So I think ergonomically, they did a fantastic job. Overall, this knife it feels very lightweight. Now that might be in part to their balancing, because I can tell you that they've got this balanced just about perfect, right? Where you would want your finger to be gripped up at. And whenever you have something that's balanced, like truly balanced, it gives the illusion that it's lighter weight feeling than what it actually is. And that's just because you don't feel a whole lot of weight from the blade kind of jerking you down, and you basically don't have to correct the imbalance yourself, right? Because if the blade was super heavy, then I would feel that. I'd feel the weight up here. And the feeling of it, even if this thing stayed the same weight, but let's say half an ounce was shifted from the handle to the blade, it would feel heavier overall because I'm constantly having to correct for the weight of the blade. Or if it's in the handle, I would feel that too, because it would feel like I have to overcorrect whenever I move the handle back and forth for any cutting that I'm going to use it for. So when you have something as balanced as well as this, it just feels super light, super easy to maneuver. We have no jimping, but once again, we do have that poon that we can kind of fall back on. So you can choke up. Oh, I don't think I would choke up and put my finger there, but you can gain control this way. And then you can also choke up into the finger choil and then kind of rest your thumb right here, and you can gain control this way. So for as for as crazy of a blade shape as this is, it's functional and like in all the best ways. Now, jumping over to the blade, we've got a flat grind with a bead blast. And for blade shape, I'm going with modified harpoon sheep's foot, with the modification being that the point is, it's up super high, right? Typically, you don't see that much point for a sheep's foot. But overall, I think harpoon, obviously, because we have poon. But then sheep's foot, I think, is the best description for this. So I'd rather go with modified sheep's foot as opposed to, say like Warncliffe or something like that. I guess you could say modified Warncliffe too. But I'll be damned if I call it a reverse Tonto, because that's not a real blade shape. That doesn't exist anywhere. Dumbest thing I ever heard of. We do have 20 CV blade steel. Heat treated between 59 and 61, which is, I'm pretty sure, just the default for all of WE knife steels. I believe it's just 59 to 61. But of the testing that I've seen, their stuff tends to land 60 or 61, right? So I don't know if they just put 59 in there as like a bare minimum, but I don't think you have an equal chance of getting a 59 to 60 or 61, because any test results I've seen come back on a variety of different WEs have always been 60 or 61. So, I don't know if they just have 59 in there as in like, all right, worst case scenario, you might end up with 59. But it's rare and very, few and far between. I don't know if that's what they're saying, but I really wish they would just commit to just say 60 to 61, right? Or even kick the range up a little bit and just say 60, 61, 62. I think that would be pretty awesome. Now, as far as the action, this knife definitely has something special going on. The detent is medium on deployment, which means it takes a medium amount of pressure to get the blade out. Incredibly snappy on the deployment, and very snappy. Maybe not snappy, but a very satisfying ting on the way down. The drop, nearly hydraulic. It does require a little bit of encouragement. Oh, sorry for the shake. It does require a little bit of encouragement, but it's really barely. The action on this thing is fantastic. Definitely some of that WE secret sauce. Yeah, phenomenal. On the slow roll, on the thumb flick, the reverse flick. For me, action has, as I've kind of refined my taste in action, almost every knife is going to require some pressure to break the detent, right? And if there's a knife that requires no pressure or too much pressure, you've already kind of ruined the action anyway, right? Most companies can get the action on deployment, as far as how much pressure it takes, they can get it pretty good. But then, were they able to land the acoustics on the way out? Yes. How's the lock bar disengagement? Well, it's fantastic. They've scalloped out a nice spot right here. They've put some jimping on it, and it's very, I almost want to say luxurious to disengage. It's very easy, medium travel distance, doesn't require a lot of pressure, but it's so comfortable. Like it's genuinely, it's not comfortable for a disengagement, it's just comfortable. It feels like your thumb found a pillow to rest in. It's excellent. So we know that the pressure to deploy the knife is good. We know that the acoustics on the deployment are fantastic. The disengagement is good. The drop, you can do a single shake shot if you want to, but to me, I really just like to encourage it. I feel like if I took it apart and I applied some oil, or I just gave it more time to break in, it would become hydraulic and not require a shake at all. But this has only been out of the box for like 2 days, and you know, I haven't really had time to break it in per se. And then whenever we land, oh, all that acoustic from this last little, so good. Yeah, they nailed the action on this. This is pretty top tier, and not just top tier like in general, but I mean like specifically even amongst Wii knives that have great action. I would say this stands out as one of the best actions on any of their knives. Like this is the type of action that, like, if I found a knife lover or collector or enthusiast that was like having a panic attack, I'd be like, take this, fidget it. Right? Now, anyone else having a panic attack, I wouldn't give them a knife. But a knife enthusiast, yeah, just fidget it. This is the kind of action that could get you through like withdrawals of something. Like if you were coming down off of something that you shouldn't have been on in the first place. Like I'm telling you, this is like restoring balance to the universe action. It's that good. Now you're gonna find things like Hermans and Shiros, you know, and Poiculos that they're gonna be you know, in a different league altogether. But if we is, you know, that $300-400 price range is kind of where you're comfortable at, and you get the Wii hyphen, you're gonna be beyond satisfied. Like I never spend this much time talking about action, and I find myself just going on and fidgeting it more because it's like every new fidget is another little thing I'm learning about the knife. So yeah, action is out of this world. I would say lefty friendly. Even though I suck at lefty stuff, the fact that I'm still able to deploy it and, you know, maneuver it, I would say, well, it's not reversible. It is a lefty friendly knife as far as manipulation and action of it. All right. So overall length, we have 8.15 inches, and the blade is 3.48, and that gives us a 0.74 or 74% blade to handle ratio. Bear with me just a second. I recently put all my knives up in a roll, so I need to grab my size comparison knives. There we go. All right, so for starters, we have the milled aluminum Civivi Brazen, third best Civivi next to the Visions. Yeah. And we can see that they're coming in almost identical. Yeah, almost identical length. Let's go ahead and grab the Civivi Altus. Sorry, it's the pocket clip getting hung up. There we go. And we can see CV Altus is coming in quite a bit smaller. And let's go ahead and grab the Real Steel Sylph. And that's also coming in quite a bit smaller. I no longer have the ProTech because that knife has been sold. So we will find another knife to use as kind of the big, beefy stand-in. Now, the overall weight of this, it said 3 ounces, but I question that because as light as it feels, I don't think 3 ounces is realistic. So let me... There we go. Yep, 4 ounces seems a little more realistic. I was going to say it feels light, but it does not feel 3 ounces light. So, what did this knife run? This knife comes in at about $289. That is a lot of money. It's a lot of money in general, let alone just for a pocket knife, especially when you can get something like this for, you know, $50, just under. Or you can get something like this, which has, you know, milling and, you know, some diamond texture to it, and it's about the same size. You get something like this for about $70. Also has very good action. With that being said, is this knife worth it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would recommend this to my grandma. It's that delightful to use and operate. And, you know, there is like the $289 is going to be high for just the materials, right? The excellent fit and finish helps, right? But you probably have about $200 just in, you know, materials. I mean, 20 CV, titanium frame lock, you know, and even then you could find something like that from Concept for, you know, right around $200. So you have to think, okay, what am I getting for that extra $89? Well, you're getting this beautiful texturing. You're getting the blurple anodization. I mean, even in here, they made this blurple, right? They didn't even have to. But they were committed to making sure that only the ends were anodized, that kind of like sunny, bronzy color. That had this whole thing been that sunny, bronzy color, it would have been a little offsetting, right? So what they did was you could still see the edges here had that bronze ano, right? You can still see the edges, but throughout the entire design aesthetic, it should only be the edges that come off that way. It shouldn't be this huge swath of space that is, you know, anodized bronze, right? So like even at this specific angle, which you would never naturally be holding a knife at, they maintain the aesthetic, keeping it to where by and large it's the blurple, and then on the ends and the corners you can see these hints of you know, I'm saying bronze, but I'm being lazy. It's really not bronze, but you get what I'm saying, right? But then you have this action. Now, I like Concepts a lot, and Concepts have come a really, really long way. The Tarkin comes to mind as a knife with incredible action, but it's not the same, right? It's not the same level. And to be honest, if I bought and I own plenty of Concepts. I love Concept. They're one of my favorite brands. But if I bought a Concept for $200 and they said, okay, where do you want to put the last, $90? I would say, well, spend about, 40 of that on, giving me an awesome pattern fit and finish, and then spend, well, actually, to be fair, no, they do give a good fit and finish. At $200, they give an excellent fit and finish. I would say dump the last $90 into action. Whatever you can do to make the action smoother. I want $1 of 4% of improvement on the action. And I think that's what you get here. Is because this is a different tier of action. This is like peak action for even a Wii knife. I mean, it's really something that's hard to get across in words until you have it in hand and you handle it. But it's something truly special. This would be a user for me, not a collection piece, and I would happily use it all day, every day. Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic knife. So recommended 110%, but let me know. This ends up in your hands. Is it a user or is it a collection piece? And if you like this content, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and until the next time, guys, peace.